All right, what is going on, guys? So, let me get out of here, and this should be all set. So, we'll let people jump in, but really quick, I'll start going through some of the questions. SNDL, so that is one on the left-hand side. I know like some of it might not be hidden, but these are what I'm in at least as of right now. Doesn't mean that like that stuff that like, oh yeah, you should just buy that blindly, but I'm actually in SNL super small though, because I had some yesterday. I wrote it up a little bit at the end of the day, and I sold some at 83 cents. I've played it a lot, so personally for me, I'm just going to see what happens. I have an average in the low 70s, so I'm kind of holding just fine. I'm not playing it with much size at all, just in case it gets nutty and it goes towards $1. Maybe that's why, that's not maybe, that's why I'm in it, right? I really don't want to see this thing dropping back below 70. So we'll see how it goes the rest of the day. I am in it, but I'm not personally thinking that it's a big time buy like right now. I mean, maybe it runs, but I'm not going to mess with it too much. We'll see what happens with this vote. So the vote's happening like tomorrow, I believe. So we'll see. Other than that, though, some stuff that I'm watching and I'm holding. So I'm holding Riot. I have 100 shares of that for right now. And I'm looking for this one to make a push towards 10. So Bitcoin stocks, those are the ones that I'm definitely watching for sure. I have kind of some other ones in mind. So, with Bitcoin stocks, like the XNET, CNET, and XTD, those are certainly fine. I think those can go. But I'm looking at MFH now as one that could really pop with Bitcoin, and also WKey. They're two that I've been in for a while, actually. Not in for a while. I'm not in huge on them. I'm bigger in MFH. What I'm probably going to do, though, to be honest, is I'm going to hold those with what I have, and then I'm going to pretty much either double down on Riot or Mara. I had 100 shares of Mara. I recently bought 100 shares of Riot earlier this week or last week at 747. So I'm up nicely on it, but I think this will go 10 plus if Bitcoin breaks out. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for, to be honest, like with that. And then we'll see what happens from there. What else? What else do we have going on? Mara. My thing with Mara was that I set a sell order a couple days back, maybe it was last week, and unfortunately it hit. Why do I say unfortunately? Because I want to just hold 100 shares. I set a sell order for 50 shares, and I thought I hit 993, but I guess I hit 693. And of course, even though Bitcoin hasn't broken over 20 or really made a sustained move right over 20K that we're looking for, it ran up after hours. I forget when is this. This is on the 30th. Okay, so this is Monday, right? It ran up after hours and hit my sell. And I was like, what? Like, I thought I set it to 993, but it is what it is. So I still have my average from $2.51 on Mara. This thing is like $6 now. So I might buy 150 shares, or I might buy those 50 shares back and then just ride my Riot and Mara back up. But I think those are going to get nutty if we break above. So that's the reasoning why I'm holding that guy, or at least those guys for right now. Let's see. Neo. Oh, Neo. I missed out yesterday on the dip. I mean, so here's what is Neo up to today? Down 3%. See this line that I have right here? This is my support line at like 38.50 that I've drawn in from this. I had this in there from past weeks, right? So it was an area right back in here a couple weeks ago that we bounced, we wicked down, and we popped up pretty nicely. So I can get rid of this trend line because we cracked that trend line. And it was like, okay, so if they ever come back to it, and we did, we literally came back. We were down like over 10% on the morning at that point. And I literally had my hand on the trigger. I was going to buy some $40 calls just for like a day trade. This is yesterday. Let me go back to the 5-minute chart. This is yesterday. And I just, I'm going to pass. I don't want to, I don't usually play options. And so I figured, I'm just going to pass. I could have just bought shares. And literally, look at that. From that 38.43 low, this thing went up nicely. I have some for the long haul in the longer term portfolio, so I'm not too concerned. But that would have been a beautiful dip. So 38.50 is a pretty, under 40 is a great spot for Neo. So that's at least what I did. AMCI, I have a pretty high average actually on AMCI, because I remember we were talking, or I talked about it, and I said, hey, I think on the weekend, I have a 1250-ish average. I should have bought more yesterday, but I wasn't paying enough attention to it. I'm not really too concerned. I'm just going to kind of hold. I'm just going to hold this one. So If we get more dips, I'll buy it, but I'm not going to buy it today. It's up 5%. It's technically still below my average, but it is what it is. I bought it, I think, on this day. This is Monday. Yeah, I bought it on Monday, and then it got a quick pop. It popped to 13.50, and then it's been pulling back since. Now it's recovering. So I'm not too concerned about it though. But 12.50, 12.49 is my specific average on that guy. For right now, NGA. I honestly on AMCI and PIC is another one that I was in from a while. Well, I jumped in on the live last time. Last time we did a live trading, I jumped in at like 14-ish. So I mean, I want to get 100 shares around on each of those for this account and ride them up, but not too concerned. I've been in PIC since 1030 something. In the long-term portfolio, but I think it has a good shot for 20 plus in the near term. So that's why I'm in it. At least this year, potentially next year. Like early 2021. I mean, we'll see. We'll get the merger. Let's get the merger out the way, and then we'll see what happens. NGA Northern Genesis. This is they're doing the same thing. So what we saw is, I think on the weekend or the last live of the weekend that we did, we were literally we were talking about a lot of these SPAC stocks, and it was like, hey, the SPAC plays are heating up again. And then, of course, Monday, Tuesday come, and the SPAC plays are dead. They start dropping. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think, right? And then now today they're starting to turn back. So they were good dip buys, I think. So this looks like it's doing the same type of thing that we just saw with PIC. Look, this is very similar pattern. Similar pattern with AMCI. I mean, they're all doing the same thing. So they're recovering nicely a little bit off of, some of the dips we had the past couple of days. So those are kind of dips, if possible. Okay, we are reconnection successful. Okay, we're good. Hopefully. If I went down, let me know. But buying those dips, those are some great opportunities for those dips. What else? Are you still watching HEPA to buy? Yeah, HEPA's on the watch list. I haven't bought it yet. It's on the watch list though. So I'm watching it. Ideally, I like the 150, right? Let me look at for HEPA on my phone. I have it pulled up quickly. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with it. I want to see it hold that 150, which it's doing. So let's pull up HEPA. If it can hold this level, that would be great, and then we'll see what happens. And then ideally, if we can get a lower dip, that would be great on HEPA, but it may hold this 150, which would be nice. And then this line right here is kind of the gap. We get over 175 and we're in the gap. I did go to Penn State. Lion Master on StockQuest. Yeah, WWR. Let me look at that. WWR. Well, they honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. The thing with a lot of those pumps is that they may just be in from a higher average. Who knows? They want to get out. I don't know. It's coming up. It's doing a decent. It's making a decent move from what it looks like. But I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it right now. If it comes down, maybe, but not a huge fan. I'm not touching EVK. I actually traded this morning. How do you see OGen? We can look at OGen in a second. This morning I traded Lizzie, Lizi. And so let me go back and let's talk about what I did here for LI. And it's pushing up actually right now, which is looking pretty good. Not that I'm going to do anything now, but on this guy, because I'm pretty much just managing the swings. And so if I want to buy something on the swings, that's what we're going to do on this live, which I'll talk about a new swing too that I am just now entering. CLSN is the new one. I wish I got a better average, but I'm waiting for a dip to load more. I really want to get a lot more than I have on it, but we'll see. I'm waiting for a dip, trying to be a little patient on that. So LIZI, they had news this morning of a deal, like if we go right here, LIZI. So the news, the headline, where is it? Enters into car audio collaboration with Xpeng Motors, right? So that is a big name competitor, right, that we're seeing in the EV space in China, like NIO, we see XPEV, we see LI, there's other ones too. And so that was a pretty big, brand name. And so I saw that came out early. So this is I'm using Webull for those who don't know the platform. I'm using Webull, so you can trade from 4 a.m. Eastern on. So this came out before 7 a.m. Most brokers will open at 7 a.m. and some open different hours for pre-market trading. I know Robinhood's 9 a.m. right? So this comes out and it's not even 7 a.m. and so that's when I bought it. I bought it before 7 a.m. Then we get to 7 a.m. and we get this immediate push because I felt, hey, this wasn't news that came out yesterday, so it's not like there's people in this already. There's not many bag holders, or there's not many people who overnighted this, who may be waiting for 7 a.m. to sell. This is fresh news. 7 a.m., the most brokers open. This should get a good push. And so I bought it before 7 a.m. We got this push. I said, hey, if we drop below VWAP, so it was like 340-ish, I'll cut myself out. I got in at a 350 average, and boom, from there, went to 520. Now, I actually missed out on taking some profits. I wanted to see it break 5. It broke 5. I thought we'd get a bigger push towards like $5.56. We didn't really get that. And so I took some profits up at like 475. Why 475 was because this spike right here on the daily chart was up to 475 exactly. So that was an area of resistance that I saw. So I took some profits there, and then I waited, and then it kind of pulled back. And once we cracked VWAP, I got out. But it was a nice trade, up over $1 from my average. Which if you ever get a stock under $5 and you're up over $1 from your average, like that's awesome. But it may look like it wants to go again. But when I see these types of things during the day, I don't care. Like, this is not my trade. So if I'm in it for this pre-market run, I'm in it for the pre-market push. Maybe the rest of the day you hold some small shares. Or if you're in for like a swing trade, which it's mostly how I trade. I'm in for a swing trade. So if we get a new spike like this, I'm selling into the spike and I'm taking my profits. This I don't consider my trade. But once you have a drop down to like 381, I'm not going to realistically hold that. From having shares up at $5, I'm not going to hold this whole way down. I would like to either exit and then look for a re-entry, but to be honest, I'm probably not going to re-enter if I've already had made profits on it and was in for a much lower average. This is day traders, and this is like where you get into kind of more technical and you're getting into a different trade. It's not my trade. That's how I see it. So that's that. I'm in SNDL, but not much at all. We'll see what happens. So they start the vote. I think the vote right today at 12 or something. So that's C-SPAN, right? Okay, so we'll see what happens with that. That could be the catalyst. That's why I'm holding a small amount. I have ACB. I have Tilray. I like the looks of these. If we take a look at like the 1 hour chart on Tilray, it kind of is trying to break out of this downtrend that I put in. We can probably adjust that, I guess we can adjust that again. But look at this overall uptrend we have on Tilray. It looks pretty good. Like, it looks solid. So I'm not really too concerned. If Tilray comes down towards like 750, that's, about $1 drop from where it's at. Not terrible. I know people who are in it and be like, oh, I'm not going to hold that low. It comes down to the trend line. That's a pretty decent buy in my opinion. So I don't know. That's what I'd be watching for those weed plays. I'm in Tilray. I'm in ACB. I may have a little bit of SNDL as well. I have a mid to low 70 average, so we'll ride this up. I took profits yesterday because we popped up to 85 cents or 84 cents, whatever. I took some profit off at 83. And then now we'll see what happens. I'm not in huge because I played this one multiple times this week, so I'm not looking to give it all back. LIZI technical break. So let's take a look at LIZI. Look at the 5-minute chart and see. So like right off the bat though, LIZI. So what I would be looking for on this guy, like what I wasn't really playing technical initially. I was playing just based off the news and the how it read. It read well. It was a company that has been running up a lot lately, XPEV. So you put that in the title of your press release, this thing should pop. But now what we have right now for right here is this is our trend line. So we have this uptrend line right now as the market's opened. And so, a decent buy would be down towards like 435-ish as of right now. That's really it. You can play downtrend breaks, but I like to kind of keep it very simple when it comes to this. So the next thing is really going to be this 520. We break over 520, this thing will probably make a run towards 6, in my opinion. So that's what I'd be watching. I wouldn't be touching this one, especially right now. Okay, so we're about 12 Eastern, right? So this is the time where the volume fades out. Look at the volume bars. You could just look at the volume bars compared to what they have been in the morning. The volume's fading out, and this could get a nice run the rest of the day. It could pick up volume, but I would recommend if you're going to play it into the end of the day, the last 2 hours of the market, really the last hour, power hour, or extended hours. So like after hours, after 4 Eastern. So that's what I would be doing with Lizzie. I'm just not. I already did fine on that. No need to play it again and lose money on it. So that's at least how I see it. If I was going to, it would be off this trend line. But again, the more times we hit this trend line, eventually you're going to crack it. Eventually shorts are going to probably win. My biggest swing trade right now, let's see. Let's go into the account and see what we got. WTRH and PIC actually are my top two for right now. But I'm looking to, and Riots, I mean, Riots only have 100 shares, but I mean, that's technically, it's $900 worth, right? Those are the ones that I'm in right now. What I'm trying to do though is I'm trying to get so the account's like almost 20K, so I'm looking to try to keep it to 12,000 in the market as it grows, that'll change, but 12,000 in the market, and then leaving the rest cash for either day trades or for adding to positions during the day. Because I'm pretty, sometimes I'll be getting in and out of stuff pretty quick. So I want to always have a decent amount of cash available if I have to ever average down or something like that. Let's see. What else? HOFV, let me take a look at that. I have started to buy some in the long-term swing account. It's okay, it's fine. But this is actually a decent play. I mean, we had this little uptrend developing. We were one of those kind of bottoming out, putting in higher lows, so it looks fine. We have a gap towards 170-ish. Honestly, the gap really can go up to $2 plus. I would say to $2. We got a shot to $2. What I see as HOFV right now is yeah, you can get in super low, and I would be playing it as a penny stock. So like how I play everything else, spikes on news, it gets a quick spike, I'm gonna sell. Look for a re-entry lower. That's really it. I like it. I think this has potential long term, but we need to get past the virus, and that's going to take months. So it's not something that I'm looking to go very heavy in for a while, personally. But at least getting the idea, having it on the list, buying something, playing it here and there, making a few bucks off some of these spikes, if you can buy it as low as possible. That's what I'm personally doing with that for right now. Let's look at XNET. XNet. This thing might have popped today a little bit. Popped to 380. So this thing is actually looking fine. So this should get a pop with Bitcoin popping over 20K. Especially because it's not a perfect uptrend, but we can kind of cut through a couple things and just roughly, here's your kind of rough uptrend. So it's down under 3 is a better entry here in terms of lower risk. You have a 250 bottom, so shouldn't go below 250. I wouldn't hold it below 250, but until then I would be adding down if it does drop below. But Bitcoin is getting pretty strong. So if we look at Bitcoin, now the problem that we have with Bitcoin is that where is it? Bitcoin USD, right? I want Bitcoin BTC USD. Whatever, it's not pulling up. Let me pull it up on the Bitcoin watch list. Where is it? Okay, so here's the daily chart, right? So we had this big dip a couple days back, and then it recovered beautifully. So it's very strong. Made a new high, recent high, but now we're just continuing to push up further. I mean, look at this. It's strong again. So we'll see what happens today. It's up a little bit today, but we had a pretty. Let's look at the 1 hour chart to get a better sense. What we're seeing, and I'm not surprised that we're seeing this, is we're getting up to that just about 20,000, and then we're coming back hard. We're getting a hard sell off, but then a strong recovery. So we're building higher, we're building higher lows, and so I would not be surprised to see Bitcoin pushing back up in the next couple hours, back up towards 20K again. But it could make a very quick move back there. So I'm waiting to pull the trigger on a couple other things. Personally, for me, Riot and Mara will be the top two. And then after that, XNET looks fine under 3, in my opinion. MFH is one that I'm in that I think will have a nice shot. And WKEY, I believe, WKey. So now let me go over at least my, where is it? At least my new swing that I'm looking to that I started to grab. So it's CLSN. Okay, now with CLSN, we look at it. It's a bottomed out play. And we're in the biotech, so it's a bottomed out bio play. Really, is what I'm liking. And a lot of these have been doing very well without even getting news. And so we hit those lows in the low 40s, but I think 50 cents should hold. Ultimately, this 50 SMA, it looks like we're trying to bounce off of it. So we popped up here down into the mid 50s, and then we're popping today right now back into the low 60s. Let me zoom this bad boy out. I want to get more. I don't want to chase it, but it looks like we are trying to bounce off of like 55 cents from yesterday. So I don't want to miss out and not get any. So I'm starting to grab some. I ideally would like to make this a pretty big size position. As I mean, the risk reward here is beautiful. If we just zoom out at the chart, what I would be personally targeting is $1 on this guy, and then potentially this 200 SMA if we get news or we get this thing to really get some volume, which is up towards like 135. So that's where I could see this thing potentially going at some point, which it's been a while since it's made a run, so it could be due. If we get into this gap, this thing if this gets news and we get into the gap over 150, this could be a monster. But I'm not looking to hold the whole thing up there. But that's what I'm watching. So I'm liking this one right now personally. I want to get more, but there's always time. I don't need to. I'm waiting for a bigger dip to get my average down personally. So that's that. What else? So Riot's pushing up. So Riot looks like it wants a new high. I actually have a sell order here for 50 shares at $9.97. I may actually just change that to 25 shares because, or just take it off. Because I personally just think this is going to get a big run once Bitcoin pushes up. But my take on these is that, with Riot and Mara, usually the past couple days, what we've been seeing is like a decent morning dip, it looks like. You get a decent dip, and then it recovers pretty well into the end of the day. So, I've been noticing that, the past couple of days, you get a dip and it's recovered well. So it continues to put in higher lows, even though Bitcoin's kind of at where it is. It's sitting. It keeps pushing up higher lows, but it's correlating to Bitcoin, but not perfectly. If that makes sense. Bitcoin pushes up, Riot pushes up. And I've noticed also earlier this week or even last week that Bitcoin is kind of stalling or pulling back. These even Mara and Riot were going up. I think on Monday. This is Monday. It didn't really matter. These were just going up all Monday. It could just be it's pricing in the move. It's pricing it in. So I'm fine with that. So I like those for right now. What's Mara going to go to? I don't know. So I don't want to have a crazy, ridiculous number on these. I ideally was hoping to get $10 on Mara. The first target for me on Riot is 10, but I think it can go for further. Appreciate it, Jordan. Appreciate the appreciate it. Rolls Royce. Okay, we'll talk about that here in just a sec. Well, look at that. Throw the ticker for Rolls Royce in, and I'll pull it up. I think I was recently looking at that one too. So Mara, the idea that I have is that we're kind of flagging right here, and if we can get a bigger push to the upside, which I'm looking for the breakout over 20K, will get us to that breakout, right? That's what I'm looking at. And then if we can do that, then I'm looking for potentially $10. I don't want to say, it's going to $10, and people will say, oh yeah, price target is $20, because I don't know. We'll see what happens if Bitcoin breaks out and this thing pushes up to $9 in 2 seconds. Maybe it's not a bad idea to take some profits, to be honest. So that's what I would say. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. So let's look at Rolls Royce now, and then we'll get back into some other stuff that I'm in. So OTC play, right? It's RYCEY, right? Rolls Royce Holdings. There we go. Okay. So these are not bad bounce plays. So it popped down. So we look at this right here. We hit let's look at the 4-hour chart really quick. So we hit 139 back here, and then this drops down. Where did it fall to? Pretty much right down to this bottom. Now it's not exact, right? But it pretty much fell right to that bottom. So what I would do if I was looking to play it, this is a decent bounce play. Here's your gap. You have a pretty big gap back up to $3. So you have over $1 gap to the upside. You can grab some here. Maybe personally what I like to play, but I don't really play too many OTCs. So I don't know how exactly they all play. But this is something that where you can buy or let it steady out. If it kind of steadies out, pulls an uptrend, you can wait or buy a small position here. And if it does drop, I would be adding shares until this 139. If we drop below 139, I wouldn't want to hold that, to be completely honest. That's just my take, but it looked like prior to this drop, it was kind of uptrending. So this is a pretty good dip buy, I would think, for right now. If we keep zooming out, it has a lot of range to the upside, but I don't know. I don't know too much about exactly the details into what's going on with them right now. As a person who likes to buy the dips, this is a decent dip, and so that's what I would do. And really, you don't have to. And when it comes to these gaps, and people, I don't want people to get all crazy about, oh my, the gap's like $3. Doesn't mean that it's going to go, like it's going to fill the entire gap. It just means that, hey, this is a potential gap fill play that, many times when you see gaps in the chart, many times gaps get filled, right? Let's look at the daily. Yeah, like here's your gap, right? So from over this 224, boom. So if we get over 224, this thing can really make a push up to the upside, and maybe, $3 is a solid target after that. So I like it. I mean, let's see how it goes, how it steadies out, but I don't think it's a terrible idea from where it bounced. Okay. CJIX buy zone. Yeah, I'm not in that one yet, but I have it on the list for sure. Let's pull it up. Let's pull this guy up. Cancer Genetics. So it's down a little bit today. It's not a bad time to start grabbing some. So I love it under 250. Personally, that's my thoughts. I love it under 250. And then if this thing comes down towards 225, it's a beautiful buy. Here's your gap. So you have this gap from 275 towards 330. These moving averages, simple moving averages, will probably be my first targets once I get in. So if I get in under 250, my first target will probably be $3, and then 313 or 315 at this 50 SMA, and then probably right here fill the gap 325 ish. That's what I would be doing. That's what I would be looking for CGIX, which I'm waiting. I think we may be getting a potential pullback, and so if we do, that's a decent day to buy. That's what I'm going to be doing. So let's look at some other plays that we got here. So SNDL, people are talking about. I know a lot of people are talking about this one. I don't know. I think you should be wary a little bit of that, because when you get a lot of people talking about something, generally what I've found is that that's not a good thing. It's just not a good thing. We are putting in we are kind of uptrending. We just see a rough higher lows being put in, here and there. So I think it's decent, but we'll see. I have a target up at 9. I don't have that many shares. I just have some just for the fun. If we do make a push, right? That's really what I'm looking at, and what I'm waiting for. And potentially, if we get a push towards 1, great. So that's my take on SNDL for right now. But I think a bunch of other weed-related plays are pushing up. So Tilray is up 2% today. I mean, Tilray is looking really good. It's kind of breaking out of this downtrend. I can get rid of this because it's not perfect, and we didn't hold it perfectly. But it's pushing up. If we just look at the 1-hour chart on Tilray, it looks pretty primed for a bigger move. Now we got to clear over $10 for the bigger move on Tilray. So yeah, it's a pretty big, significant move. But with everything going on with this vote, I mean, there's enough attention, there's enough talk about it. I think it could get there. Let's see what else. So Riot is back at the high of the day. Riot is 935 is the prior high from Monday, but Riot is back up to 918. It hit 926. So it hit 925. So now Riot's pushing up. But again, right, when we talk about okay, these stocks correlate to Bitcoin. If we look at Bitcoin specifically in the past 5 minutes, Bitcoin is not making the same move as Riot in the past 5 minutes. So it's not perfect, but it's as Bitcoin's uptrending, these stocks are generally performing pretty well. So that's that. Let's see. Solo, I'm not a big fan personally. I never actually played. Maybe I day traded it once or twice back on the initial run, but here are my levels that I'm looking at. I think now it'll probably come back towards 5 or 6. EVs in general, I think, are heating up today. Let me take a look at the EVs. So most of them are up. So Lordstown Motors, NIO's down a little bit, LI. So the Chinese plays are down. Oh, because we had that thing passed that potentially could delist Chinese companies if they aren't complying with regulations, I guess, that we have in the U.S. And that actually, if you've been hearing about that actually is not a big deal right now, because if it's passed or signed by the president, those companies still have 3 years to comply as of what the writing is now. So it's not like, oh, NIO is going to get delisted. If they do, it wouldn't happen for 3 years. So it's not something to really worry about too much right now. At least that's what I would say. So let's see. What else do we got? INSG. What's up with INSG? and push. Let's see if it can hold this, 10, 11-ish area. These kind of highs right here. Let's see if it can hold up on that level. But it made a nice little bounce from the 8s for sure. It's pushing up. It's got some range for sure. It's got a nice range back to 15. I like that. SGBX going on CNBC Power Hour. I mean, maybe it pops, but I'm not a big fan of playing stuff like that personally. Kern. Let's look at Kern. Kern, following a bunch of those weed-related plays. If we zoom in on Kern, it's been uptrending lately, but it's not perfect. It's above the 50 SMA, so I wouldn't like Kern below 350 if it does drop below there. What else? So it's not, Kern is a good one because if weed plays really run, Kern goes, right? But it's not a perfect, kind of correlation or perfect follow to like your Tilrays, your ACBs, your SNDLs, your Hexos, your IGCs, your CGC. I like to look at CGC. CGC pushing up. So if we see CGC pushing up, that's a good sign. We can probably assume that Tilray is pushing up, and it is. You can look at ACB, pushing up as it is. APHA, let's take a look at that, pushing up as it is. Hexo is kind of lagging. I have 500 shares, but I have a bunch of sells in case it does make a run. Hexo is super slow moving though, so it doesn't make big runs like that. It seems like. IGC is kind of a lagger, I guess, behind a bunch of those. NXTD, not a huge fan. Oh, this thing already popped, so I wouldn't be touching this guy. Well, it's come back down. Under 40 cents, I would say, is a better buy, though, for NXTD. That's at least what I would be doing. TKAT. What was that? TKAT. Why is this guy not showing up? I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. Either it's OTC or something. I can't pull it up, at least on here. Apex, is it too high? Apex? Let me see what Apex is up to right now. This is an OTC, I think, right? Yeah, I mean, personally, let it come down to this trend line, at least for me. That's where I would be looking to buy, around 3. I would like it there. But it has a gap here above 475. So, has a decent gap above 475. I probably wouldn't touch it, though, honestly, until it comes to the trend line. For me, I'm pretty, it's not screwed me a couple times where I missed out on something. But to be honest, I think it's better to be greedy, especially just getting yourself in that mode, because right now the market's a little hot, but other times, like in the summer and other months, it's not going to be always as hot, and so you can really hurt yourself if you're a little too greedy on entries and stuff. That's why I like to be as greedy as possible. Not greedy in terms of I want to get a lower price, a better deal. That's how I see it. What else do we got going on? CBDD. Let's see. CBDD. Not pulling them up. Why is that? It may not be a ticker. I don't even know. Okay, I don't know. At least CBD is pushing up today. CBD is, and it's making a push towards 14.15. Thoughts on Blink? BLNK. Blink charging. It's making a nice bounce. I think it's actually in a decent spot, because if we take a look, it looks, these all need a pullback. They all need a pullback, but here is your kind of downtrend breakout. So we're breaking out of this downtrend on the daily chart, which looks good. So now I want to see it reclaim 25. Reclaims 25. That would be a decent, I like that. The Chinese stocks getting delisted, I think that's what NXTD is. I don't know if it specifically is, but if it's just because Chinese stocks, that's not going to happen for a couple of years, unless the company actually gets delisted, and that's not due to the recent proposal, I guess. So Wader is interesting. This is one that had really popped yesterday, did well yesterday, and it's bouncing a little bit for right now. Let's see, MDGS. Let's take a peek at the daily. Oh, this is actually really nice. MDGS right here is like a beautiful spot. I think it's a decent spot at 180 like 8 right now. I would have my risk identified down. I mean, I'm not going to take this. I honestly would for a swing, but I'm in enough, and I want to have some cash for some other ads later this afternoon. Actually, CLSN is what I'm going to do that right now. So, I want to have some cash available to add on like dips like this. So like CLSN, which I'm going to just buy like, I'll buy like 250, and then I'll buy another 250 eventually as well. What do we got? I'll play that right there. So I'm going to buy that. Let's see if they get filled. I want to get this thing down lower. Ideally, I should have waited, to be honest, when I initially started to buy. But this is a good swing that I think has a nice 50+% potential. But MDGS is like actually a really good spot. I would just keep my stop pretty low, like pretty close, like 175, right? And then that's pretty decently identified risk, I think. Some reason TKT is not coming up. Oh wow, that's weird. Maybe it's a glitch, a temporary glitch. Blink is putting in charging stations at Burger King's in the Northeast. That's okay. I don't have APTX in my long term right now. I have enough for right now. I ideally wanted to. I probably should have. This is gonna pop. So let me see if I could get like a 59, like 50 something. If I can get filled. I might just leave that order there and see if it fills, and then come back to it later. It would have been a great dip if it pops. But what else is going up? PIC is pushing up a little bit right now. Okay, hit 1450. PIC I have in the long term. FSR is what is one that I've been wanting to kind of not get out of, but like I wanted to take something off, and then like it kind of pulled back. So I'm not looking to take anything off now. I thought it would get crazy if it got crazy. Okay, my CLSN just filled. If FSR got crazy, so now my average is a little bit better. Then I would have taken something like if FSR popped to like 25 to 30 like last week. I would have had to take something off. I mean, a stock, they don't have production for 2 more years. Like I've got to take something off the table there, especially because I would have been up like nearly 300 or like 200%, whatever it was. So I don't know. We'll see. What else do we have? IDX, not a huge fan of IDX right now. The Discord thing, I don't really want to charge people for that. So I don't know. I'll see if I can think of something. I'm not a huge fan of people who do that. To be honest, I think I prefer the free idea. I pay for a Discord myself, but that's just me. It helped me a lot, and I mean I link it in the descriptions of my videos. But like that's the only thing that I like in terms of like a paid Discord I would recommend. I don't know. Maybe at some point we'll see what happens. I most of the stuff that I do is swing trades anyway, so I don't really feel like the need to there's no like alerts. I'm alerting like I'm doing like, and I don't like that either. Like people who do that stuff, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see maybe one day, but I want to see if I can figure a different way to do it. Maybe do it differently than kind of the traditional way that people do. That's just my take. I think I can do. I feel like with what I'm able to post in terms of like videos, and with live streams and with just general videos, like you pretty much like I'm not hiding stuff, and I'm not really like, I'll take day trades here and there, but that's just my own thing that I'm going to do, and it's always my own risk associated with that. And so I don't like people on Twitter, big followings, and I hate it. It hurts because I don't like people who get caught up in that stuff. There was one bad one. I'll show you guys right now. It was Fran. I feel so bad. So Fran, right? Okay, where is it? Let's see. This is it right here. It was the 520. So Fran is trading right here. Here's an example of like why I hate that stuff. The Discords, the massive people on Twitter who alert when they go in something. That's why I'm swing trade focused. So there's no alert. It's like, hey, I like this stock in these levels. If it dips down, I'll start to accumulate some. Like that's it. Like that's the nature of how I do it. But this is like, hey, it's a retail stock coming up to Black Friday. Had like no new, like there was no reason, but it was just talked about in some free chats on Twitter, and I saw it. The thing goes from like 345 to 520 within like 20 minutes. There's no reason for the stock to be up that much. Some people who were in earlier did very well. But those who bought it up here, they got screwed. And then eventually, there's like rumors of delisting, of bankruptcy, right? Like the next week. It's like, so some people got screwed on that. I just hate seeing that stuff. That's why I'm not a huge fan of like the whole, if you're going to follow somebody on Twitter, anywhere really, understand if you understand what's going on and you're making sure you're not getting caught in these pumps, then that's the first step into using that to your advantage. Because then what you want to do is say, hey, like I know these people, are doing this. I know they're looking for these things, and then you want to be trying to find it before them. And then if you can get in before somebody else, then when they talk about it, they tweet about it, the thing pops, you sell into that, and you're done. You made your money, you're out. Like you don't have to worry about buying it up too high. That's how I like to do it personally. But we'll see. I'd rather send you a payment cash by mail instead of Discord. Yeah, so I don't know, that's just my take. I could do more live streams if that's the solution to doing just doing more live streams. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that either. I enjoy it, and I don't. And the thing is, like, I don't want to charge people for stuff. Like, if we make money on a play that maybe I found or someone else found from comments, like awesome, we all make money. Like that's payment for us, right? It doesn't matter. We don't have to pay somebody to give me the ideas. So hopefully the idea with the channel is hopefully giving you guys like awesome tips, experience that like I'm seeing, hey, like this is what I'm seeing, here's what I'm learning from that, and then boom, like hopefully we can take that and move on and become independent traders. That's the idea. That's the intention. I hate the pumpers, man. Once you kind of round the corner and start to say, oh, like you can identify a pump, then it's fun, because then you can just watch the pump happen, and then when you're in the pump, before the pump, you're like, this is awesome. I'm just selling into these people. Like, it's great. Let's see. Do you think LCA will go to 30 before the 18th? I don't think it's going to go to 30. I am in one Discord. I have a link in the description. It's Prosperity Trading. So that's the one that I'm in personally. I joined it over a year ago. It's helped me a lot, and I have no reason to leave it. But it's paid, so I pay for it. Tons of information, educational stuff, daily alerts. They live trade every single day and stuff. But I don't take too many day trades. I more focus on swing trades. But it's helped a lot for me. LCA, let's pull up LCA. So they have the vote date on the 18th now. It's at $20. Personally, LCA, it's a long-term hold for me. It's in my long-term portfolio. It's probably going to be volatile into the vote date and then right after. At that point, I think we'll start to see a bigger, slower move to the upside. Eventually, probably, next year. I would think, and I hope. I don't want this thing to just start running up right now. I wouldn't get too concerned with it unless you're playing options. Then you can kind of get concerned. You could be concerned about what happens now. I just wouldn't touch it because I've just seen too many SPAC plays. SPAQ to FSR, other ones too, Hyliion, even like Tattooed Chef, FMCI to Tattooed Chef. I mean, like all these, there was just so much volatility up to the merger, and then when it happened, it's just like, it was kind of ridiculous. Appreciate you guys. I appreciate it. All I ask is a like on the stream. That would be awesome. That's all I ask for you guys to do. I don't ask for anything else. JUMIA. JMIA. This was nice. This has actually been a pretty solid, like, just beast off of this trend line. I mean, of course, if we could have gotten it down there, yes. But then what happened was we had a beautiful 50 SMA dip. So 1180 was a beautiful buy, and it's just ripping up. So now it's getting up to this gap right here over 3450-ish. Is this gap, which should pop us back to 35, and then potentially you can fill that gap and move up, pop us back to all-time highs. Appreciate you, Jordan. Appreciate you guys. The thing is, like, I don't ask for anybody to give donations. You don't have to do that stuff, but I appreciate you guys for doing so. All I ask is the thumbs up. That's it. Up 60%. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm hoping to the hope for my portfolio. We'll see what happens. But we're trying to take it from 15K to 100K for those who are new. And I do a video every single Saturday updating 15K to 100K. Now, there's some deposits, free stocks and stuff like that get put in. So, yeah, there's that. But that's what I'm trying to do by September of next year. So if we can do that, that would be insane. And then, we'll go from there. But that's awesome. SNDL was awesome. SNDL was a beast. Let's take a peek on SNDL right now. It's actually pushing up a little bit right now. So it's back to VWAP-ish, 77-ish area. So we'll see how SNDL goes. Snow is up 15%. Let's take a look at Snow. Okay, Snow is pushing up nicely. I mean, this is one that I generally wouldn't touch something like this. But if it can break over this high right here, this thing could get interesting. So over 343 to breaking out to new highs could get a nice run. It definitely could. I actually majored in meteorology, believe it or not, and I minored in energy business finance. That was and there was like some small specification inside of those, so it wasn't like inside of those majors, so there's like different kind of like titles, I guess, but technically that's technically like the name. Like that's what I did at Penn State. ASTC, this actually looks good too. Appreciate it, Brendan. Appreciate it. So you have like a 158-ish, 160-ish average, floor, right? That's your kind of floor area, and we have it right from back here. ASTC, this is one that I should put on the list. Do I even have it? I may have it written down. If I don't, I'm gonna write it down right now. I have like all these logs and stuff, but like I have just too many right now. The problem is that I don't want to like just spread myself super thin, because when we have like a pullback day, everything comes down and it's like, oh, what do I do? And so I found that trying to be, for me on Webull, right? If I can't fit all my positions on one without having to scroll, it's too many. It's too many. And even this is too many, but I feel like I'm kind of okay with what I have for right now. So that's that. But ASTC, this looks good. I mean, 160-ish area support. I mean, range, look to the left, massive range. This thing drops news. I don't know. This is why, like, I love to first find the chart. The chart looks good. Okay, now let me look up their last couple press releases. Are there any hints in the last couple, releases? Like, so for example, for ASTC, right? We go here. I look on Seeking Alpha. Boom. We look through some of the financial results. We look through, the earnings reports. We look through some of their, their last deal. We have $1 million purchase orders. Okay. So we're going to start to look public. They have a closing of the offering on the 23rd. So they just closed an offering. So chances that I'm doing offering again, lower now. So we start to piece things together from that. And then we look to say, okay, are there any catalysts? Can we find any catalysts upcoming from these releases, these reports? Boom. And there's, you start looking into each of these companies. And then boom, this could be a perfect play for an entry, saying, hey, I'm targeting $2 plus. I'd target like $2.50 plus on this, But it looks good. Here's your bottomed out play. I mean, this is another bottomed out, play. I like it. I like it for right now, for sure. Is it good to hold SNDL? I have some, but not much. I have a little bit of SNDL in case we get a bigger move. So I'm holding some, but just understand that there's risk. I appreciate you guys dropping the, appreciate it, Nikki. Appreciate it. I'm holding some SNDL, but, I'm not in huge. So I think we're going to see a bigger move, depending upon how this vote goes. I mean, that could be the ultimate catalyst. So I'm holding some, ready to cut if I have to, and then rebuy lower on certain things. But at the end of the day, I'm not in massive, but I have spread myself across a couple weed plays. So you could go about it a couple different ways. You can go heavier into one specific play, right? That's for a certain sector. So, for example, to cover the weed sector, what I could do is just go heavy into SNDL or heavy into Tilray, TLRY. Now are these companies great? No, that's the problem. So when these companies aren't great companies, the stock can spike. The company may not be good. So the longevity of it is not going to last. We can get a spike. That's the whole key. But you can spread yourself into a couple. So Tilray, ACB, SNDL, HEXO. You can look to there's other ones too, IGC, APHA, all those different things. So you can spread yourself into a couple different plays, and then from there, what you can do is say, okay, like now if there's an offering dropped on Tilray, I'm fine because I'm also in this one. So you're not going to be like $2,000 in or whatever position size into one play, let's say they have an offering or something happens negative with that company, then you're screwed. So that's how I'm kind of playing a bunch of these different weed plays for right now. What is your ideal amount of positions? So ideally, I don't want to have more than like 20 positions. The only thing with as you have a bigger account, you can get more. You can be in more things. It depends on how you want to manage it. If you don't want to manage it, and you're like, I don't want to have to worry about like, oh, there's an offering on this stock, and I got to freak out and do this. Or you got to check the news on 3 different stocks. All of a sudden, after hours, a stock's dropping. You're like, why? Why did this happen? So, for clarity, peace of mind, for me, under 20 with my account size, and then from there, I pick and choose which ones I want to be heavier in, and then other ones I can be a little bit lighter. So, for example, WTRH covers the whole food delivery space for me. So there's more food delivery options, right? But WTRH I'm only in one food delivery play right now, and it's just WTRH. I feel confident with a little bit heavier than I could have than if I was to spread it out to 3 different stocks. So that's that. Then when it comes to Bitcoin-related stocks, I'm in a few. Weed stocks, I'm in a few to kind of diversify this, what I'm in. And generally they all move together, but just in case something, happens with one of them, you're kind of okay. APHA, let's take a look at APHA. Let's see. Up to 840. This is pushing up beautifully. This is a beautiful play from the past couple days, the past couple weeks, I should say. I like it a lot. If it could break above, let's see where it's got to pop now. I think a good shot towards, this consolidation right here. So right in here would be, $9 to $10 is the next area it's got to pop through. So we'll see if we can get there. You guys don't have to keep dropping donations. I appreciate it though. Do you think GPS will raise up? GPS. GPS is what is GPS? Why is it not pulling up? I know I looked up this one before. Ears moving again. Ears. The funniest thing was ears and eyes. I forget when that was. 2 days ago. Ears and eyes. So ears pushes up. It has like actual news, right? The stock starts running up. It hits $6 from being under $2 earlier. Now you all of a sudden, like literally as that's happening, or as it starts to kind of fade out, eyes starts pushing up. There's like no news. It just popped. Eyes is actually funny because I played this one a while back too. Back when it was like $1. Back here. So it was uptrending. It was under $1, and then it popped to like 2+ off of like no news. At least that I saw. It was so eyes can make those no news runs, but sometimes you just get crazy weird runs that happen. So we'll see. Rolls has a contract with the UK Army, Air Force as well. Okay, that's solid, and that's so when you can find a good looking chart oversold or fits a criteria that you want to look for, and then you can back it up with when you can back it up with something, a catalyst or something to drive it to the upside, a reason for the stock to go up, then that's awesome. I love that's ideally how I would love to play it. Most things. I always look to the chart first. So SNDL is moving up a little bit right now. Let's take a look at that guy again. Back over 78. So SNDL is over 78. Let's look at the 5-minute. It's pushing up. It's got to clear this. It's got to break a new high over 82 for it to get going again. SNDL, Deep MSR, awesome. I appreciate it. Those are the funny thing with some of those is that I love the best is when like somebody says, oh man, like I made so much off of this. I was in like DPW from like 2 to like 6 or whatever it was. I'm like, dude, I sold DPW so early. And it's like I like to take my profits early. I didn't think DPW was going to make as big a run. It did, and awesome for those who were able to capture a lot of that. I definitely could have made a lot more money on DPW. WYY. Let's take a look at WYY. It's coming back down off of a recent high, so I would like to see it hold up around 950. So see these tops right here? These tops are prior areas of resistance. Now they become new support as we're above it. So let's see if we can hold. Now it's a range. So if I put in a horizontal line, it's roughly right here. So roughly 950. If we see a wick below, fine. But if we see a couple candles start to go below, a continuation below, that's not a good look. And so it should probably pull back. It's probably going to come down more. Maybe it comes down to these highs at 850-ish. So let's see. It's tough to. You can never always call a bottom. When it comes to finding swing setups. But what I found is that it does cost some capital. But I never like. That's why I average in. So I always scale in, scale out. So I'll go in and I'll say, okay, I'm going to be going in. So for example, here it is. Let's CLSN. So this one, 50 SMA bounce, I started to see it pushing up and getting some volume this morning, so I grabbed some. I have a higher average than I want, but 750 shares, so what is that? If I go to my position, where is it? So it's at $444. So my max position size based on my account size, which is nearly 20,000. So my max position size is 10% of my account. So my max position size is $2,000. So I can literally triple my position right now on CLSN and have a more comfortable position size. So that's why I'm going in here. If it dips, I'm going to buy more. So I have it kind of ready. So now I'm ready to buy more on the dips. Now I'm looking for CLSN. It's an oversold play. I like the play. I like it's in the bio. It's a bio play right now. December, traditionally a very hot month for bio plays. So let's see if CLSN drops down, into the mid to low 50s, which we kind of had a lot of consolidation support before. Well, then I can double my position. My average comes down significantly, right? So now when we do get the spike, we're going to move back up. I'm fine, and that's generally how I look to do it. So it's different. It's a different strategy. It's not like I'm going in, right? And here we go. It's a totally different strategy, and people, everyone's going to have what works best for them. That's what works. At least that's what works for me. So I don't know. Averaging down, accumulating. You can say it both ways. You can look at it both ways. You don't need to say averaging down, just accumulating shares. Like if you believe the stock's going to go up at some point, you're just accumulating shares until it goes up. And the nature of a lot of these penny stock swings is really, it's tough. And people, I see stuff on Twitter saying, people are like, it's one thing if you could, anyone could call any stock. It's the next thing if you can call it in a certain time frame. Like, I don't care about the time frame. ADTX, I wish had run more. Yeah, we got one little pop right here to 240. Yeah, you could have made some money on that. I'm holding for the bigger move, the bigger news. So yeah, I've been this one for quite some time. So it sucks. But at the same time, I'm not going to just sell this stock. There's no reason to sell. It's holding very nice support here in the upper 190s, really. And I'm waiting for the bigger move. So it's just a lot of it's a patience game and I still have powder. If I would love to get ADTX to get a dip. We get a big ADTX dip. I would love for that to happen and I'll buy it. I will buy it. Like unless there's news to drive the dip, but that's just kind of how I think of it. So I want the dips. That's how you got to think about it. PIC going back for a potential new high of the day here, which looks pretty good. KNDI, let's take a look. Maybe it's not showing. Maybe there is some stocks that are not showing up. So maybe it's not. So I've had that issue today a couple times. For whatever reason, a bunch of these stocks that some people have asked haven't been showing up. So okay, well that's it's a weird glitch going on. I don't know. Even ADXS, this one doesn't seem like it's showing up either. That's super weird. Why that's happening. I've never seen it before. Let's see. NOAV. NOAV. Let's pull that guy up. I know NAOV, and that's what you mean. NAOV. Unless these are not, for whatever reason, these things are just not popping up. I may need to reset the platform for a second if this keeps happening. Okay, so let's see if I can pull up at least AYRO. Okay, some of these stocks for whatever reason today are not pulling up. I don't know why. AYRO is trying to push. It's holding up here above 7 for now. But let's see. Let's look at the daily chart and see what it did. So it's going to have its ups and downs. I think this is going down personally. But you'll see after a big spike, you'll have volatility for a couple of days. I think long term, I would love to get AYRO either to establish a new area to make it a lot clearer on the chart. Like we saw, like look at this. This 250 was very clear to be support. Like right now, I can't say. I mean, you can look at shorter time frames, say, oh, like maybe like $7 is support, but it's too tough to say. And since I'm not risking that, plus I mean, when it comes to a lot of these EV plays, like they're not all great companies, like right? They're not. So I'd rather play the better companies for now until we can get a bottom play. The reason why I play these penny stocks is because I can buy. You're never going to buy the bottom perfectly, but you can buy towards the bottom to limit your risk. Right here, you have massive downside risk. Sure, could it go to $20? I don't know. Maybe if they have some crazy news, but like I don't know. It's not worth it. It's not. I'm not a fan of that. Where do you tend to find your penny stocks? So the biggest thing I would say in terms of where I find most of my plays, is through past plays. So it's like you start to see, the longer you kind of do it, the more you kind of see, oh, this stock's running today. Oh, this stock's running today. Why is it running? What's the news? And I started to log some of those things in the past. Then I built up a pretty big log of stocks that I traded plus stocks that I've kind of just watched. And I've said, oh, this stock tends to run here. This stock tends to do this. And I have a massive just trading journal of like all these stocks. And then, so that's like the biggest thing is just literally the journal. So then like, okay, it's not like a handwritten journal. It's a spreadsheet. And so on the spreadsheet, what I have is the sector, when I played the stock, how much, what it did, the details of the run, why it ran, all that stuff. And then when it comes time to look for stocks in a certain sector, boom, I have my lists and then I can go to that. And then also building out watch lists and things like that. Then on top of that, there's people on Twitter. There's the Discord group that I am in, like we were talking about before, right? There's other sources as well that you get ideas from. And from there, you can take the idea, you can social media, whatever, chart it out yourself. Do you like it? Does it make sense to you? And then boom, from there, you can kind of go off of that. That's how I get 90% of my ideas. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to wrap things up here in just a second. I'm going to have a video out today. If you want me to do more live streams, definitely drop a like on the video so I know that. And so right now I'll run through at least what I'm in, and then we'll wrap things up. It's getting to be close to lunchtime for me at least. So I'm going to probably go to the gym and have something to eat. PIC is one that I'm still in. So PIC, one of my larger positions, but I feel fine with it. The downside risk here isn't too bad in my opinion. I'm in it in a long-term portfolio. I have a really good average under 1050, which is great. It's pushing up today. I like it. It's XL Fleet, waiting on the merger for that. I'm looking for, okay, so let me go down the line. So AMCI, I made a video recently on a recent SPAC play. I think it's going to make a recovery. I like it for the next couple weeks to potentially a few months, maybe. I don't know. I think this can go $15-20 pretty easily. Riot, I'm in this for the Bitcoin push. We're seeing this stock correlates very well with Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up, this stock generally goes up. Same thing with MARA, which I have down here. I'm in a lot less, but I'm looking to potentially add to those if we break out and confirm over 20K. Maybe for a day trade, but I will probably be going heavier on some of those. CLSN, under 60 looks really good to me. So I bought some under 60. I have an average at like 61. If it dips down below, sure, this thing could come down to like 50 cents. I would like to see it hold 50 cents though. So I have powder ready to go. If we want to buy, I have it, right? We're ready. A bunch of different replays for the vote, right? I'm in Tilray, TLRY. I'm in ACB. I'm spreading the risk out, not in huge on any one of these, but I'm spreading it out. Also in HEXO, Hexo, and SNDL. SNDL, by the way, is pushing up back almost green, so it's almost going to make a red to green move, which could be good. If it breaks back above 80 cents, breaks 82, this could be a nice run into the end of the day. Outside of that, GLBS is my shipper play. They have earnings on Friday, so I'm going to be cutting that before earnings. We'll see. ADTX I've talked about before many times, but I like this thing under $2. We're waiting for an emergency use authorization for an antibody test. MFH, this is a Bitcoin related play. So Bitcoin pops 20K. I think this is going to get a nice run. So we'll see. We'll see. That's that. What else? What else? What else? W key, same thing with MFH, similar Bitcoin type of play. BLU also kind of bottomed out, but it's pushing up. So it's interesting how we had this bottom and then we had this kind of a pump or something. And then it pushed up and it's kind of flagging here. So I'm looking for BLU to make a bigger move. They have a nice gap over 440. Then the gap is potentially in play. So I have some BLU as well. Outside of that, that's what I'm in right now. And then other stuff certainly on a list, on lists for entries. So CLSN is the one I'm looking to add more to, at least for right now. We'll see what happens though with that. Yeah, Webull. It seems like Webull might be having some issues today. So I don't know. I'm going to probably reset close out the platform and reopen it. But it is what it is. OXBR. I'll run through a couple things, then we'll wrap things up. So OXBR. This is weird. So it's not pulling up. So like for whatever reason, it's just not pulling up all the tickers that like we want. So let me see if it pulls up here. If I pull it up here, no, it's not for whatever reason. I don't know. It's super weird. This should stay up. This should stay up on the channel, so you guys can go back and watch it. I know Webull seems like it's got some issues today. It is what it is. It's unfortunate, but hopefully they get that fixed. I honestly haven't had too many issues with them in the past, so knock on wood. Hopefully this gets taken care of, but. Other than that, guys, I will definitely do more live streams. So I see you guys saying that you want a lot more live streams. I will definitely do more, and I'll make sure to post about them earlier. But other than that, hopefully this is helpful. This will stay up on the channel so you can still watch it. I think I'm going to talk about. I'm going to have a video going over a gap trade that the overnight gap trade is going to be the video for this afternoon. So I have that. I filmed that earlier, and so that should come up on the channel later. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video on the way out. That said, stay green. Good luck to everybody the rest of the week. There's, day and a half left. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.